Have you ever been in a relationship and sensed something just wasn't right? Like no matter how hard you tried, things simply didn't seem to be working out the way you desired? Well, sometimes it might be because God had a different plan for you, and sometimes He will use various ways to let you know that you're making the wrong choice, even if you don't listen. So, if you've ever found yourself questioning whether your relationship was meant to be, keep watching till the end to find out. But before that, please feel free to like and follow our page and share with us in the comments section what relationship challenges you are facing. Without further delay, let's get started. Number 1. A lack of inner peace. If you experience a sense of unease or discomfort about a relationship, it could be an indication that God is not guiding you in that direction. Whenever God approves of someone, one of His main methods of confirming to you is through a feeling of internal peace. Both you and the other person will experience a sense of tranquility in your spirit. This is a sign that He has everything under His control. But if there is an underlying feeling of restlessness every time you attempt to move forward, God might be prompting you to reconsider your steps again. This doesn't mean God doesn't care for the other person. He might just be safeguarding you from what you cannot see. The Bible offers valuable insights about peace. In Philippians chapter 4, verses 6 and 7, Paul writes, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." This implies that no matter how spiritual you are, it's crucial to heed inner promptings and be mindful of any red flags. Even if the other individual urges you to move forward, refrain from doing so unless God has led you. The devil can be deceptive. He might steer you into a relationship that seems to align with God's will when it's not. He might make everything look just like the will of God. This is why it's advisable to be spirit-guided rather than emotions-driven. It's also important to recognize that a lack of peace doesn't necessarily indicate the relationship is a total non-starter. It could be that there are some issues that need to be addressed, or that God is trying to convey a particular message to you. But if you're feeling a sense of unease that persists over time, it might be worth seeking counsel from the Spirit of God. Number 2. Resistance. When God doesn't want you to be with someone, He will occasionally provide signs through creating resistance in your relationship. This resistance can manifest in various ways, like unforeseen changes in plans, subtle disruptions, or even more so, you might feel like you're advancing in a relationship, but suddenly there's a delay or a hindrance that you can't explain. It's crucial to pay attention to these signs because they could be God's method of attempting to get your attention. It doesn't mean that He's against you or that He's trying to make things challenging. Rather, He might be trying to guide you in a different direction. In many cases, it can be tempting to try to push through the resistance and make things happen on your own terms. But in every case, it's wiser to listen to what God is saying and follow His lead. This might mean taking a step back and reassessing where things are at, or it might mean being open to the possibility that God has something different in mind for you. We must not confuse these resistances with attacks from the devil, as they are entirely different. The resistance which comes from the devil is intended to bring confusion and delay, whereas the resistance which comes from God is to protect you and give you time to think again. If you feel God is asking you to hold on, never try to force your way or expedite things. It is better to be slow and sure than to be fast and fall. If God resists you from committing to someone, you should accept that and take it gracefully. Number 3. Red flags. If you are noticing red flags or warning signs in the relationship, such as disrespect, abuse, or other unhealthy behaviors, it could be a sign that God is not leading you to pursue a relationship with that person. In Ephesians chapter 5, verse 25, it says, "Husbands, love your wives just as Christ loved the church and gave Himself up for her." If the person you are interested in is not treating you with love, respect, and care, it may be a sign that God is not leading you to pursue a relationship with that person. The truth is, most times, we tend to trust our abilities rather than trusting God's abilities. We believe we have the power to transform people after marriage, but there are no guarantees. You can never be certain that the individual displaying red flags will suddenly change after marriage. You can't change someone who isn't willing to change. Only God has the power to change someone. If before you are married, You can obviously see many signs that indicate that the person will be worse. Never make the mistake of thinking you will change them. If your partner has been a serial cheater before proposing to you, he must show evidence that he has changed. Don't make the mistake of thinking he will change just because he is married to you. Marriage doesn't change people, it only reinforces what is already in existence. If both parties are on the wrong foundation, they should be prepared to continue to live with the results that come after. This doesn't mean we shouldn't give people a chance, but it means we should take precautions to know what we are walking into. Whoever you are getting married to must agree to be willing to let go of their bad behavior before you tie the knot. Otherwise, you might spend a great deal of your marriage praying for healing rather than enjoying the blessings of God. Jesus said, "A good tree cannot bear evil fruit, neither can an evil tree bear good fruits." If he has been beating you before marriage, you should be prepared to continue to be treated in a similar manner. If you ignore the red flag saying love is blind, then indeed marriage will open your eyes. Number 4, you lose your identity. When it comes to relationships, the wrong kind can totally transform who you are in ways you never would have imagined. When a person falls into a relationship that is not meant to be, it may start subtly changing their entire being. An angel can become a devil, a spark of joy can become a raging fire, and coolness can become a boiling point. A relationship from God is one designed to bring out the best in you. It will give you the freedom to rediscover your true self and discover your mission and purpose on earth. But when a relationship begins to make you lose your original identity, that can be a clear sign that it doesn't come from God. Take a moment to think about someone you knew who has changed drastically over time because of the people they surrounded themselves with. What was once a calm and peaceful person had become resentful or irritable in the blink of an eye. If you find yourself becoming more bitter, more irritable, or doing things that aren't your true self, then those may be warning signs that the relationship is slowly making you lose your real identity. Suddenly, it can feel like you're a world away from the person you used to be, and it's only when we take a step back that we realize the truth. It might take strength and courage to let go of something that is toxic and damaging, but don't worry. God will never deprive you of something that is genuinely good for you, whether it's emotionally or spiritually. Don't be afraid to distinguish between what is good for you and what isn't. Taking that bold step may be what you need to do to get back on track. Number 5, lack of the fear of God. The lack of fear of God is something that should be taken very seriously in any relationship. The fear of God is not just a matter of faith or spirituality. It is the display of a profound respect and honor for the supreme creator of the universe. Without such reverence, the partner in the relationship will possess no restraint. That is, no one to call them to order when necessary. A holy reverence for God is what sets the perfect foundation for any relationship, be it among family, friends, or couples. Without respect for the divine and awe for God's majesty, how can any human relationship possibly stand? Without a God to hold us accountable, how will we ever learn self-restraint? When someone outrightly tells you that they don't revere God, you must take note and proceed with caution. Lacking respect for a higher power translates to a lack of respect for those around them, including you. And being with such a partner is a risk not worth taking. Our love and reverence for God give life to the ability to honor our spouses in any and all circumstances, both behind closed doors and in public arenas. Moving forward in a relationship without the reverence for God can only lead to chaos, lawlessness, and instability. Number 6, lack of compatibility. If the person to whom you find yourself attracted does not share your belief systems, values, or overarching vision for the future, it is likely a sign from the Lord that you should be cautious. As written in Amos chapter 3, verse 3, "Can two walk together except they agree?" When two people have fundamentally incompatible outlooks on life, it can often lead to confusion, disagreements, and a lack of peace. This isn't to suggest that couples should share every opinion or prioritize overlapping areas of interest. Yet when true incompatibility exists, it's time to consider stepping away to follow the Lord's will and find true joy and companionship. It's crucial to find someone whose passions, visions, and beliefs align with yours. Even if it takes effort, pray for discernment, insight, humility, and guidance to discover the ideal partner God has in mind for you. The Lord seeks an environment where harmony exists for two individuals, as he cannot abide in confusion. That said, a relationship can still be grounded in solid principles despite differing perspectives. However, if there are fundamental incompatibilities in beliefs, aspirations, perspectives, and so forth, it might be best to appreciate the signs from the Lord pointing to their true intentions and respectfully part ways with love. Number 7, through dreams and visions. God can, in many ways, directly advise you against involvement in a relationship. If he sees it might potentially harm you, in our moments of greatest desire, he can surprise us with a gentle caution of what is not meant to be. We understand this from the story of Abimelech and Abraham in Genesis 20. Though this king was determined to take what he wanted, God appeared to him directly and warned him that Sarah, Abraham's wife, was not his to take. Through dreams or visions, God could potentially intervene in a relationship with no promising future. If he perceives potential harm, it's essential to note that even if God advises against a relationship, he, in his infinite mercy, grants every person a choice through free will. He always allows us to make our own decisions. He will never force us into something we don't want, nor will he intervene if you've made up your mind to do what you desire. Yet his wisdom remains should we choose to follow his instruction and take heed of his advice. Though we are ultimately responsible for the choices we make, God's effort to caution us beforehand ensures that we have all the available information when making such an important decision. Lord, grant me discernment to recognize your signs in relationships. Help me find inner peace, notice red flags, and understand your guidance. Strengthen me to let go of what doesn't align with your plan. Lead me towards a love that reflects your will. In Jesus' name, I pray. Amen.